was called Marvel Knights. They did this whole initiative where they took Punisher, Daredevil, all these characters that ended up turning into the same characters that Netflix adapted. And they created all these stories. So if you're ever like, the Netflix, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, all those characters and interpretations of Marvel's characters was really cool. This is the guy who created the source material for that, so to speak, or at least he was creatively spearheading that with Marvel Knights. But it went beyond that because eventually Joe Quesada became the editor-in-chief at Marvel because he was so successful with what he did with Marvel Knights. They promoted him to such a position where he was in chief creative control. And then he was also consulted on in the early MCU. So Marvel used to have this like round table of comic creators that would consult on the story direction of the MCU, right? They were the ones that would help keeping it accurate and in spirit to what comic fans loved about these characters and made them true to their characters. So they used to have this group of people. I think Brian Michael Bendis was on it, Joe Quesada was on it, and others, Joss Whedon. And they would consult on the MCU. So I loved getting to meet this person who is like one of the unsung heroes of the MCU. So like when you think about MCU and them being true to things, like the fact that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was able to be accurate between the show and not step on the toes of the films for as long as it did was because of the efforts of this group of people, right? Like they were the ones that were not just making sure all the stories were consistent. But again, the characters were behaving in a way that people wanted them to. So I got to talk to him. He did some comics recently that got a lot of attention. And one of the things I wanted to ask him was to just kind of verify, like, yo, this stuff happened, right? Like there really was a group of y'all consulting with the MCU, right? He confirmed it for me. And I have this interview. I never put this interview out, actually. Like this interview still is not released. It's just
debate with my friends, and I give you a lot of credit with them for the early stages of the MCU. Right.
So like this is just a cool moment for me. I'll probably put this out eventually soon too. Members first, of course. But yeah, this was a cool moment for me because I know who these comic creators are and I know how to spot them. And he was just standing there. There was no line. I was like, this is crazy. Let me buy his comic. Let me pick his brain. And I started yelling at my kid, take the video. Let's see.